broadcast is now live, but it isn't live yet, if that makes sense.
Okay, Tim said we'll sort the Google Hangout stuff with him later when he's in at 9. At
Awesome.
9.
Okie dokie. I will let you know when we're live. Do do do. Do do. Should be any second now. Right. I think you should be live now again.
Okay, so this is the first of many. The Burkamp Wonderland Transfer Deadline Day special. Unfortunately today we've got no intros as there is no actual notes for the podcast. It's very much improv, we go as we do. But first of all, I'd like to thank Kris for joining me. He's going to be here most of the day. Hello, Kris.
Hello.
And another person we've got joining us as well is Goona Girl Kate. She's a Burkamp Wonderland's lady panellist.
Oh, I told you the other day I'm not really a lady, but hello.
It's lovely to see. I don't know how we've got the chat box on the side of this, by the way. I can't find the chat box. Do I have to go into Google myself and look it up?
You need to go onto YouTube. If you go onto the Twitter account and click the link on the podcast account, that will take you directly to it. And then sign into Google, obviously.
But anyway, I digress. As we've got one more gentleman with us this afternoon. Stevie from the Arsenal In My Blood podcast. Me and Kris have been on it several times. We've enjoyed every outing, haven't we, Kris?
We have indeed.
So a big hello to Stevie. Hello, Stevie.
How are you, gentlemen and lady? On an eventful day, which will be full of rumours, and then we'll sign someone that we didn't want to sign, and we'll be thankful for it anyway because it's a signing.
There was probably a small part of me this morning that woke up an hour ago that thought maybe just stay in bed. Maybe. Just stay in bed. Nothing's gonna happen.
I'm doing everything in my power, guys. I'm in Barcelona at the moment, and I've had a little chat with Messi. He played well last night in a 3-2 win against Villarreal. Obviously, they've lost Gabriel now, so they're going to be losing games one after the other. But yes, I had a little chat with Messi. He's interested. So hopefully I'll bring him back tonight.
So you are hoping to smuggle Messi in the hand luggage?
Yes, he doesn't weigh too much, so I don't think I'll have to pay any excess baggage or anything, so that should be all right.
Well, if he does go slightly over, I'm sure we can all have a whip round to sort you out. Yeah,
Brilliant.
Exactly.
Brilliant. Fantastic stuff.
So, right then, gentlemen, where do we start this morning? I think the first question has got to be, do we think we'll bring anybody in? Kate, I'll go to you first.
No.
Would you like to expand on your answer anymore?
Well, he's already come out and said he's not going to buy anyone, isn't he? And he's not in the market to look for anyone. So what makes us think that it's going to be any different?
But there was a wry smile there yesterday, wasn't there, Kris, when he did his presser afterwards?
Yeah, I tweeted a little picture of it, bless him. I don't know. I mean, I kind of what Kate said, really. He said no. I still got a little feeling in my water that there might be somebody. I just don't know who. I mean, he said somebody special. But there's not many of them in January, so who knows?
The big names that are still being touted to this very hour are Edinson Cavani and Marco Reus. Stevie, would you be happy with either of them?
Happy would be an understatement.
I think
like Marco Reus.
You'd have to go and clean yourself up, wouldn't you?
Yes, literally, with like man-sized tissues cleaning up session. That's what it's going to be like. Getting someone like Edinson Cavani would be just incredible. I'm a massive fan of Marco Reus. He's a left winger. We need a left winger. I don't see what the problem is. I'm pretty sure he's got a clause in his contract for 23 million, 23 million, unless he sign a new contract.
Daleks have got Steve.
I think something Doctor Who. We've gone Doctor Who on Stevie's house, unfortunately. I don't know what happened there. Stevie, can you still hear us? No, he has frozen
Me?
on the
Hello?
screen.
Oh.
He is there.
Hello?
He's
There he
back
is.
in the room. He's back in the room.
Hello, I am back in the room. I'm back in the room. What bit did you lose me on?
We got you 23 million
23
buyout
million.
clause.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I'm pretty sure, unless he hasn't signed a new contract, I'm pretty sure he has got a buyout clause. So, and Arsenal aren't, are scared to splash the cash, and we need a left winger, and he plays on the left wing, cuts in on his right with an amazing finesse shot. So I'd like to see that sort of deal being made, to be honest with you. And if that's a special signing, that's the right guy to go for.
It might be nice to see something like that, mightn't it?
Yes.
Hopefully we can. And Kate, another one that you said towards me this morning was the shit up the road, getting rid of Adebayor to PSG, and possibly Edinson Cavani becoming available. Your thoughts?
Cavani would be a great signing, don't get me wrong, but it also said on this, what I read to you this morning, that Daniel Levy could hold up the deal so that we couldn't sign Cavani, which he will, because he's a tosser and he's them. So
But
know that will be what happens. They'll probably hold it out and hold it out and hold it out until it's too late for us to sign anyone.
But they didn't with Ozil the other year, because I think it was the almost a ripple of events which saw Gareth Bale move, which saw Ozil come to Arsenal. So can we see anything like that happening again, Kris?
Well, I mean, we could. I suppose anything's possible, but I think it's unlikely. It's a weird deadline day this year, because normally you've had a few moves. Okay, we've had the Boney deal and a couple of dribs and drabs, but it's generally, other than maybe Shaqiri at Inter, it's been quite quiet in Europe. Full stop. So if we're going to get massive deals, I'd be surprised, but you never know. I saw a thing last night linking that lot up the road with Cabaye, Laporte from Bilbao, and who was the other one? Jay Rodriguez from Southampton. So I mean, if any of those or all three of those come off, they're going to have to ship people out. Which, as you say, if I can't see Adebayor at PSG, I really can't see that, to be honest. But that's the rumor, so it's got to be true. But yeah, I mean, you never know how these things move, do you? We sat here last year, we were all kind of hanging ourselves, and then all of a sudden Danny Welbeck came out of nowhere. So you never say never, I suppose.
No, definitely not. We've got the chat box up and running now, so if anybody wants to send in any questions, then feel free to. We've got someone there that's saying Royce's buyout clause is only available in the summer, which I think I've heard the same thing, actually.
Oh, okay.
And I think it's about 20 million in the summer. So Arsenal could chuck in a cheeky £30 million bid there, and see what we could do. I think the one thing that we've got to remember as well is at this point in the window in the summer, if you'd have said Arsenal are going to get Danny Welbeck, we'd have gone fuck off. But we ended up with Danny Welbeck. So things do happen on the last day, and if you're like me, Arsenal never fails to surprise you with their actions. I think they're certainly getting along the way. They're joining other football clubs in terms of ambition and buying players on deadline day and really trying to step it up and make a difference. So anyway, questions, please, from the chat box down the side. Get them in and we will answer them. So has anybody else on here, while we just wait for the questions to come through, got anything else to say on deadline day so far?
I've got one thing.
Okay, go for it, Steve.
Yeah, so there's talk of Ilamendi from Real Madrid coming to Arsenal. What's the likeliness? What do you guys think of the likeliness of that happening? And if it doesn't happen, obviously we'll probably go in for Morgan in the summer. But what do you think the chances of getting Ilamendi? He's very young, very promising defensive midfielder, plays for obviously Real Madrid. He obviously has to push past Toni Kroos and Khedira, so he's got troubling to try and get him to first team football. What do you think the chances of getting someone like that? Because it'd be a class signing, very fast, very very good on the ball, and wins the ball very well.
Kris, you watched Spanish football, so did you want to field that one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, he's a hell of a talent. I feel a little bit sorry for him, actually, because Real Madrid brought him in sort of for quite big money, if I'm not mistaken, and he's now seemed to have been dropped back to the pecking order. And now they brought Lucas Silva from Cruzeiro as well. So it does seem like they're in the market to get rid of him, which is an odd one. But sometimes players don't fit. Would you? I mean, myself and Dom had a chat about him. I personally think he might be a little bit too small or too fragile for Premier League football. But then so is half our squad, so it's not really saying much. I think he would add something, but on the whole sort of defensive midfield or midfield position, I personally think that the way Coquelin's been playing will get through what we've got to the end of the season. Coquelin's doing a great job, and then at the end of the season, then let's go big for one we really want. And also, I think you've got to factor into the accounts what's going to happen with Flamini and Arteta. I think one of them will stay. One of them, probably Flamini, might end up going. And if he does go, then there is room for someone else. But in January, I mean, it all comes down to, is the price right and is the player available? I don't even think. I think Jeff was saying at the time, the Ozil deal, we weren't looking at that until it kind of fell on our laps almost. So, if Real Madrid sort of give us a bell and say, do you want him, then there's a decision to make.
And it's well known that Real Madrid almost get like a twitchy arse, so to speak, on deadline day, because we've seen people move on deadline day, like Van der Vaart moved, didn't he? Ozil moved. So it's almost a case of getting people out to get people in, and they normally are a busy club. So I don't think we can say officially or as a fact that nothing will be done. Kate, we'll go to you next. And a question that our good friend Akib has. Everybody else, would they like to do it?
Akib.
Stevie?
Keep.
Lovely stuff. He's asked us, who do you want to bring in? So, Kate, who would you like to see come in today in a dream world?
Cavani would be a good one because he's a strong player, and Schneiderlin. But how attainable these are for us this window, I don't know.
No.
We, like you said, we didn't know that Danny Welbeck was going to sign. It was a last-minute thing, and that was a shock to us all. We all sat here thinking, oh, no one's going to sign, no one's going to sign. And he did bring that one out. So who knows? Maybe he will shock us all and bring someone out. I'm hoping by the time I finish work that there may be someone on the cards.
Yes, hopefully so. And we've got Lionel Messi, who has just joined the chat group. Lionel, hand in that transfer request and come to Arsenal, son. You know you want to. A big hello to Timothy Hargreaves as well, and Jojo Wack as well. Towzen, I'm sorry, I'm probably murdering your name. I do apologise for it. On the Illaramendi thing, I do think, and I said on the Football Purist podcast, which I took part in yesterday, literally straight after the Aston Villa game, that I did think that we would now stick with Coquelin after yesterday's performance. I thought he was absolutely superb. I certainly think that there's similarities in him coming in and Arsenal being on a rich vein of form. I think he's been superb since he has come in, and all you can do is play players like by form. At the moment, you've got David Ospina who's picking up clean sheets every game. Do you drop him for Szczesny? For me, I say no. So with Coquelin, I think that's very much the same thing. Hopefully, I can see us going in for Schneiderlin in the summer. We have spoken on the podcast, haven't we, Kris, about what transpired with Schneiderlin in the summer, and I think it was more of a case of Arsenal dragging their heels. Otherwise, we might well see him as an Arsenal player now. But that would have cut Coquelin short. But it's nice to talk about having so many quality players coming back into the team and performing well. And I think to challenge for that title, you've got to have two players in each position. And at the moment, bar a few positions, we're very, very close to that. Stevie, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be difficult. But I'm a player. I'm a person that you play on merit. I think that's definitely a thing. You play on merit, and there was a lot of talk about certain players, not obviously doing the job but they've been showing they can do the job now. But then whether that's a thing to come in by the end of this season, do you know what I mean? I don't want to start playing. The fat lady hasn't sung yet, so let's wait and see what happens until the end of the season. But yeah, no, I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah. And Kris, what's your thoughts on Schneiderlin? Do you think that's going to be very much a wait till the summer now? I think there was talk on this week's podcast from Gav, who'll be up at 8 o'clock, about his value. And while they are in the hunt for a Champions League place, his value is sky high. Whereas next season, when we're all on an even table and no one has any points, and maybe he's got itchy feet and he wants to move, maybe his price will be reduced. Is that something that you'd agree with?
Yeah, it probably is. I listened to the pod, obviously, on Thursday, and listening to Gav and Jace's conversation about that, and I disagreed with Jace. And I know this doesn't happen often. I love that big Welsh flip-flop wearing bugger, but I don't think paying over the odds. I took his point of trying to get him in now could see you Champions League. You could end up winning the Champions League or something along those lines. But for me, if the difference is like 2 or 3 million to get him in January, fine. But when you're talking about having to pay 30, I mean, Southampton would, if you went to Southampton now and said, right, we'll give you 35, 40 million, then I think they would have to be very serious to consider that offer, because it's stupid money for them. But if there's no way we would get him for anything less than 30 million if it was today, and also if we were to get him, Dom probably would combust, and we don't want that. So no, I mean I could see it in the summer. There was obviously, like Gav and Jeff have said, there was obviously a lot of talk with him in the summer, and it sounds like it was quite far down the line, and for whatever reason we didn't go for it. Equally, it could be a smokescreen. Everyone's talking about it. I always get dubious when you hear it in the media. As soon as you hear it in the media, I always think, okay, we'll rule that one out. Even if you look at the Gabriel deal, it was not in the media at all until it was pretty much done, and then everyone pretended to know it was being done. So it would be very typically Arsenal to sort of look at other options as a backup, and then maybe pull somebody out that we don't expect. But if he was to be the one we got, I mean, him and Coquelin's still quite young, people forget that, so there would be room to have two of them. I mean, it's difficult. I've got this horrible feeling he'll end up at Spurs, and I know Don will kill me for saying that, but I've just got this horrible feeling that the Pochettino link, and the fact that they've got ridiculous amounts of money stashed on an island being hidden by that bloke that owns them. I don't know, just got a bit of a worry about that one.
Yes, definitely so. So, Kate, who do we think the main teams that are going to be the busiest today?
Oh, I don't know, probably Spurs, because they need to get all the players they can get. I have actually just seen that it's coming up at the bottom on Sky Sports News that Tottenham have said that they that they would happy to send Adebayor out on loan.
Who wouldn't?
But I'm not sure that's true. They're actually reporting on Arsenal Live now on Sky Sports News, but I haven't got the volume up, so can't hear. But Arsene Wenger has just gone in his little Mercedes, is it, he's driving into the training ground, I believe. So who knows? Maybe there is someone lined up somewhere along the way. But I don't know who's going to be the busiest, to be honest, because they've all come out and said, oh no, we're not going to be going in for anyone. And they all will come out and go in for someone, because it always happens.
Yes. So again, I will ask to go to the chat box in the side. Kris, can you see any good questions in there?
I can have a look through. Yes, let's see what we can find here. Tim Hargreaves, by the way, our chum in South Africa, will be on later on today, so you'll be able to hear him. What have we got here? Tim himself was saying about Gonalons. He's my little what's the word? My hipster choice if we couldn't get Schneiderlin, so he'd be nice. Other than that, what else we got here? Jojo said, I don't think Bielik can make an impact just now. So that's in line with, obviously, we have kind of got somebody in already, but do we think he'll make an impact? Open to debate on that one. Anybody else? Matthew AFC said
I can
about...
chuck a name to you, Kris, if you want.
Yeah,
one of the players that has been hotly tipped this week is someone who is said to be a boyhood Arsenal fan. See if you can get this. We'll play a little game. Said to be a boyhood Arsenal fan, can play in numerous positions and has done for Borussia Dortmund.
Yeah, I know who.
Go on.
Grosskreutz.
Yes, indeed. Ding, ding, ding. What do you think about him and our chances to get him cheap? For a player that's so well known, surely 3.7 is an absolute snip, isn't it? Or do you think he's just a squad filler that would eventually be deadwood that we'd all be moaning about in a few years' time?
I think it will be either or, and I know that's a cop out to sit on the fence, but it will either be, if you look at what Kim Kallstrom was, where we brought, okay, yeah, he had a broken back, but joking aside, we brought him in basically just to add a body. It was a short-term deal, and it was just to sort of see us through to the end of the season. And I think with Grosskreutz, he would be the same. He's clearly a decent footballer. He's been
Fucking shit.
He's been at. Thanks, Stevie. Cheers, Stevie.
And that's Stevie's opinion there, everybody. I can translate.
I thought the internet cut off.
Did I bring so many rude words to your podcast? I don't think I did. I might have only.
We gave you free reign. We gave you free reign, and you got no excuses. We gave you free reign. There's only one word you can't say on our podcast, and that begins with S.
Yeah, so we all know what that is. That was comedy gold. That's the first drop of the day.
Right.
But on Grosskreutz, I don't think. In fact, ask Stevie, see what he thinks of Grosskreutz.
Stevie, do you think he's shit or?
I think he's versatile. I think he's versatile. I think he's very clever to say that he's been a boyhood Arsenal fan for many, many years. When did he say that? Did he say it recently?
I've read many newspaper articles from various different media outlets that have said that he's a self-confessed boyhood Arsenal fan. So everyone that comes in, like Wilfred Boney when he signed for Man City, he had dreamt for playing for Man City 15 years ago when they were pretty much bottom of the old Division 2. So I don't think you can make much of that really.
No, I think players now are getting caught out with by saying that old-fashioned line of I've been a boyhood fan of this particular team for many, many years now, and I think Bonnie is a prime example that you can say the right say the right words, but when you do the research, you look like a pleb. So yeah, he's extremely versatile. I'm pretty sure he's what is he 23, 24?
Yes, something along the lines of that.
So he's still young, obviously. He's obviously going to, it's going to be difficult in a team like Borussia Dortmund. They are still rock bottom of the Bundesliga now, which is unbelievable. I never thought I'd see. I thought they would have been climbing the ranks by now, but it's obviously not going to happen at this moment in time. But yeah, he's an extremely versatile player. But then is he the player that we need? But then at such a low rate. Of a player that's very, very, very experienced, do we say no to that? But then you think about someone like Jenkinson. Is he going to come back? Is he going to be we're just going to sell him? Because he's doing very well at West Ham, and that's obviously Premier League football. You get first team football there. Obviously, this Gosling plays defensive midfielder, but then we were going to go for someone big in the summer. So who knows?
I mean, to touch. Sorry, Chris.
I was just going to say something very quickly. Just in the chat box, the name that's going through that is Draxler, and we had all this last year, didn't we? About that, or will he, won't he? It is a pretty well-known, or I say well-known. It's fairly well-known in Germany that Schalke are not particularly flush. I mean, they're not skint, but they're not particularly flush. And they've got another lad coming through called Max Meyer, and he plays a very similar position to Draxler. And the talk is that they didn't want to sell Draxler to us last year because they wanted Meyer to get longer first-team football under his belt so that he would be ready when they did decide to cash in. And Arsene absolutely loves Draxler for whatever reason. He's a big fan. So, I mean, that would be the only one left field. I think Royce is a pipe dream. I think he's going to be at Madrid next year. But Draxler is a left-sided attacker. Or maybe one of those, like, I think, didn't we buy Shamak and Podolski? Didn't we sort of make the agreement in January and do it in the summer? I wonder if something like that could be going on. But I mean, all these other names and this boyhood stuff. Sissoko said he was a boyhood Arsenal fan as well, didn't he? That's another one.
Yeah.
and I think he'll move as well. I think he'll actually end up at Spurs, sadly. But no, the Draxler one, maybe just keep an eye on it, maybe.
No, it's a good shout. As at the moment, because it's obviously transfer deadline day is very, very slow to start up. So I think we should turn our attentions to Gabriel, or however you want to say it. Were we surprised we didn't see him yesterday, or was it just a surprise that he was on the bench? Kate, I'll come to you. Surely, at say 4-5-0 up with still one substitute to make, you could have chucked him on, couldn't you?
He could have given him a little bit of a run out, but maybe he's just waiting for him to, I don't know, maybe settle in a little bit, train a little bit more. But why put him in the squad if he's not going to play him at all? So, yeah, he could have given him a bit of a run out with a 5-0 scoreline. Don't see why not.
No, exactly. And Kris, the fee touted was about 11.3, anywhere ranging up to about £15 million. It's a lot of money for someone that you're going to stick on the bench every week. Do you think we're going to see this boy? Because a lot of places are actually reporting that he's made a big hit in training so far, hasn't he?
Yeah, there was talk that he first training session and apparently rattled 2 or 3 of the superstars, which I actually like to hear. Do you remember that story that I can't remember who it was told us the story about Kolo Touré coming into training and putting Arsene Wenger and Martin Keown up in the air? It's the sort of thing you want to hear because it's players that are coming in and making an impression. I think he was on the bench yesterday just to acclimatise him more than anything else. I don't think we're ever going to see him. Arsene said he doesn't really speak English at all. He had that joke about teaching him to say offside and various things. So I think you'll probably see him on the bench for 3, 4, 5 weeks. I would imagine he's going to get quite quick English lessons, or he's going to be being taught English fairly quickly by somebody. And then once he's got the basics, I don't think he'll be a substitute for that long, because I think Mertesacker's played pretty much every game this season. He's going to need a rest at some point. And maybe the time to blood Gabriel will be acclimatise him on the bench for a few weeks now, and then maybe the Middlesbrough game potentially, or maybe even just one of the sort of the lesser teams like QPR, perhaps, although we're away from home, so maybe not away from home. But we need a nice, comfortable home game against a side that we should be looking to beat. Ironically, Aston Villa would be the ideal opposition, but to get him in yesterday was probably too fast. And thank you, Akib. It was indeed Ray Parlour that said about Martin Keown and Kolo Touré, so thank you for that.
And just to refer back to the chat window, we just briefly touched on Draxler. And Stevie, I'll go to you. Towzen asks, how much do you think Draxler would cost?
Yeah, it's quite funny. I know is it Maximilian Meyer? That he's pronounced.
Yes.
Yeah, Maximilian Meyer. Fantastic talent, unbelievable. His potential is just unbelievable. It's really, you wouldn't be able to prize him from Schalke because of his amazing, potential. But Schalke have got a lot of attacking midfielders within their ranks, and Draxler's getting on a bit now. He's 25, I think now, 25, 26, going on 26. So he's getting on a bit now. It's very on left, considering he's classed as an attacking midfielder, but he's like and as Arsenal fans, we get fed up with seeing attacking midfielders playing on the wings, because obviously they cut in, they're like sort of inside playmakers. But yeah, I don't know how much. I'm thinking probably 20 million. I think you'd have Draxler. I think you'd get him for 20 million. Any more than that is silly money. You might as well go in and put the money in to get Royce, even though obviously Chris A was a bit of a pipe dream, which is fair enough. He is a top quality player, and he probably is going to go to one of the European giants in the summer. But if you're going to spend to someone like 20 million for someone like Draxler, you might as well spend that a little bit more and go for someone that's a little bit better.
Yes, that's a very good point. And Kate, your thoughts on Julian Draxler? Is this a player you'd like to see at Arsenal? As Chris has already pointed out, Arsene Wenger appears to be a big fan of him. And as time ticks on, he is no longer becoming a younger kid or a wonder kid. So does his value go down as his age goes up?
Not if he improves as a player, no. I mean, I know he's still young at the moment, but I think he would be a great signing to bring in. He's got the experience, he's a good player, and I think he could fit in quite well. We've got a few Germans, and he'd fit in well along with them, and might be a bit of a dream, but it'd be nice. I mean, he's only 21, very young,
Oh,
still
yeah,
got time
he's
to
still,
learn.
yeah. No, I thought he might have been a bit older, but it's probably because he's been playing first team football for God knows how long. It's the same
He
thing like
has.
Oxlade-Chamberlain, isn't it? We think he's older than he is, but he's actually really, really young.
We'll go back to the box then on the side, and Dennis Goal asks, would you rather take Khedira on a free or Schneiderlin for 20 million in the summer? If Dom was on, I could tell you what the answer would be, but Kris?
Dom is on, just not literally on. He's on the chat box. Hi, Dom.
What time is Dom booked in?
Yes, yeah,
for-
Dom's on. Dom's on at 6 o'clock, I think, UK time. I'll soon tell you. 2 seconds. Yeah, we got Dom, Jason, and Bex on at 6 o'clock. So when you're going to pick up your lovely lady, Gim, we will be chatting Aussie.
You mean I get to miss the flip-flop wonder?
Yeah, I can't imagine why I said that. I said to Jace, I said earlier on, if we get opportunities to get other people on for other spells, we'll drag them in. So if you really miss Jace that much, Gim, I'm sure we can drag him on again later on if you like.
I'm sure we can. We're doing that because as it is at the moment, the whole 10:30 spot is very much it's who's going to be. It's going to be who's available at the time. You might see a Jeff on there, or you might see a Gav on there. You could see Jay. I mean, you could see any of the panel. I know for a fact you're going to see Tim Payton for sure, so you'll get his thoughts. He'll probably be there to rile you up at 10:30 with his. Well, he can't use his patience line today, can he? But he will be there. Tim is a long-time friend of the show, an absolutely lovely fella. Comes on, and he's been a part of every transfer deadline day special for us so far. So we hold him in very, very high regard. Let me just see if I can scroll down this group then and see if we've got any more questions, or Kris, if you can see any questions there.
Yeah, I can have a look through. Let's see what we got. I do want to give a quick shout to JJ as well from Twitter, James Johnson, who he tweeted me and said a short time ago, you haven't mentioned Lacazette. Are you feeling all right? I am I am fine, James. It's all good. I'm just trying to quell my desires, because the more I think about him, the more I can't stand the thought of him going anywhere else. We did have a question from Jojo. Do you think Ox can become a world-class player? And if so, which position? I mean, that's another one to look at. If you're looking at a left-sided player, I mean, okay, Ox is generally placed on the right, but he's comfortable on either side. Would it not be more sensible to maybe blood him on that one of those positions rather than bringing in yet another tricky attacker? Stevie, do you think Ox can become world class?
I think he can become world class. I've made the mistake of Draxler being too old and given too many years on his age already, and a lot of Arsenal fans have been the same with regards to Ox. We all forget how young he genuinely is because how much first team football. It's a bit like Walcott, we kind of forget how old he is. But yeah, Oxlade-Chamberlain, an amazing guy. Wenger's always said that he sees him in the middle, and we see that when he does play in the middle. We see his driving runs are amazing. But yeah, no, it's a great shout. Maybe blooding him in, putting him in on the left. But the only way he'll become world class is if he actually gets game time. What he's getting right now, not game time. He's not going to become world class if he's getting seasons like this.
And also, again, we've got an agent out there as well. I should tell you. Breaking news: our very own Akib has just tweeted a picture of him talking to Shane Long. So maybe Shane Long is the answer to all of life's problems.
Where is Akib to be able to chat to Shane Long?
I don't know. He's tweeted a picture of him. It looks like he's in some sort of football stadium or somewhere. There's a picture of Akib there with Shane Long in the background, and then the next picture is just Shane Long gazing out of a window lovingly. So I don't know. It's red seats, so I can only assume it's at Southampton. I would guess.
Oh, very, very interesting indeed.
We did have one on the chat box from Antonia Quigley. Hello, Antonia, who asked if there was any news on Liverpool, but not according to Sky Sports News. There's been nothing on Liverpool at all.
I've got some breaking news on Liverpool.
They're shit.
They're shit. Yeah, there we go.
I was going to say that, but I was being too polite pre-watershed.
Breaking news. We all know.
Very
right.
good.
We should be close to wrapping this up then, and we will do in the next couple of minutes. But just quickly, is there anybody else that wants to ask anything in the last few minutes? Of course, we will be back at around 2 o'clock, if not a few minutes after, but hopefully now we've got this stuff sorted, we should be good and ready to go. Chris, just while we're waiting for questions, who have we got on at 2 o'clock?
We have got on. Oh, by the way, I forgot. Somebody else asked me to mention them. Stevie, somebody's called you out. They've thrown you under the bus.
Yeah, go for it.
Adam Chandler was just saying apparently Draxler is actually only 21.
Yeah, we've gone past that, Chris.
Oh, have we? Sorry, mate.
Past that, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, mate.
20 minutes ago. 20 minutes ago. Yeah, I know I made. That's where I was talking about the Oxlade-Chamberlain looking older than he is. That bit, yes.
Was so busy telling the cat off that I wasn't listening. I do apologise.
We're all there. We're all there.
Hold my hands up.
I put my hands up. I held my hands up. Yeah, as I said, the reason why I put a few years on his age is because we've seen so much of him over the years. A bit like Oxlade-Chamberlain. We've seen him for many, many years now. Because of this, we think he's older than he is because he plays with such a cool head that we think he's older than he is, and that's what I made the mistake again with Draxler.
Good shout. I apologise for not listening. I will blame the cat.
That's fine. I'll let you through.
I do
fine,
think,
darling. Fine.
I do think Chamberlain, though, in regards to your question of if he can be world class, I think he has every chance of being class, and Bellerin as well. I think one thing we've seen this season is not just players coming in and playing and doing a role, but we've seen the younger players just get better every game. For me, right, and I'm probably going to get destroyed for this, but I thought Bellerin was probably man of the match yesterday. That goal at the end, until then it was probably Mesut Ozil, but until that goal at the end, I think he just snatched it with that goal at the end. But absolutely superb. We've seen him get better as well, and every time I seem to watch Chamberlain, he's just got better and better. Just the drop of the shoulder and the pace on him. Oh, he's absolutely fantastic. I love Ox to bits. Kate, what's your thoughts on the Ox? Do you think he's going to be world class? And what are your thoughts on him for so far this season?
He's been outstanding, and yes, he will be world class and a future England captain one day, I think, and potentially a future Arsenal captain. He is wise beyond his years, and that's maybe a player we've missed for a while, but you do forget how young he is. But that's got to be a good thing, because it means that he's playing really well and he's got so much about him that you do think he's older than what he is.
Yeah, he is a very, very mature footballer. I think we can see from the interviews that he gives at the end of the game, and he is one of those people that just puts himself up for it. And when he talks to the presenters at the end of the game, just so much maturity comes across. We'll switch our attentions now to the chat box and ask the last couple of questions before we head off for a couple of hours. And
only an hour.
Yeah, literally only an hour. So we've got one question. Is Rosicky the perfect role model for Jack Wilshere? Stevie, do you want to field this one?
Yeah, sure. Thomas Rosicky, yeah, it breaks my heart to play like that. He's had a bit of a Diaby-itis. I call it Diaby-itis about him, where he's just plagued with injuries, and which kind of like dampened his career to begin with. But thankfully, as he's got older, I think he's wisened up with how to play football, and I think that's definitely something that Jack Wilshere needs to cotton on to. Jack, he's always played this football where he'll draw in as many fouls and as many people into him as possible, which frees up a lot of players around him, which is granted, but not when you've got ankles like glass. You can't keep doing that. He needs to release the ball a lot quicker. And Thomas Rosicky, he's definitely learned this over the years. He's not been the healthiest man in regards to fitness, in regards to that. But the past couple of years, or whatever, he's definitely got on a lot better and figured out how to get around that. And I think Jack Wilshere would definitely learn a couple of things from little Mozart in regards to releasing the ball a bit quicker.
Yes. We'll get through these questions quickly then, because I've just got to nip out so I can be back at 2 o'clock. Tauzen, what do people think of Cuadrado to Chelsea? I can field that one just quickly. personally, I think if you're getting rid of Andre Schürrle to bring in Cuadrado, I don't think there's an awful lot of difference there. However, I am a big fan of Andre Schürrle, and I thought he was fantastic at the World Cup. I don't think that adding Cuadrado to the squad and getting rid of Schürrle really adds too much to Chelsea at all. I think it's just a case of, maybe Maureen wanted a different player just so he could keep his hand in. Kris, is there anything you wanted to add to that quick?
No, nothing really. Cuadrado is he'll do very well. Unfortunately, he is very talented. He's hugely pacey, but he doesn't track back, and that's not usually a Mourinho style of player. So it's a bit of an odd one for me.
Yes, definitely so. We'll stick with you. I think we need in the summer someone who is relatively young, under 25-year-old, and who is a top prospect forward. At the moment, it is Lacazette and Dybala. And that's from Julia. Kris, agree?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Lacazette, my heart beats fast for the guy. I just love him. It just reminds me of Thierry Henry as a youngster so much. He's pacey. He's a good unit size wise. He can play anywhere across any of the front three positions. He's coming into that sort of purple patch of his career. Lyon are not a club that can turn away massive offers. The other thing I really like about him is he's a very down-to-earth, a very sort of genuine footballer. He sounds like a genuinely nice guy. He said in the transfer window that he wouldn't move in January because it was his dream to get Lyon into the Champions League, and that he wouldn't leave until he'd fulfilled that dream. So sounds like a thoroughly nice chap. As for Dybala, again, huge talent. I'll put my neck on the line and say that he will be as good as Sergio Aguero is, given 2 or 3 years' time. And chuck another name in, Luciano Vietto at Villarreal is another one that's going to be easily as good as Aguero if he keeps the sort of upward momentum of his career going. But I don't see Dybala being an Arsenal player purely because I think it's going to cost 30-40 million to get him out, and I don't think Arsene Wenger is going to spend that much money unless it's obviously the Ozil deal, but Ozil was already a world-class footballer that everyone knew about at probably the best club in the world. So I can't see us going to Palermo and offering him 30 million for a chance, to be honest.
No. And we'll stick, Kate, with the last question before we head off. If you've got any questions, unfortunately it's kind of mad just trying to stick with this and read and present at the same time. I am a man, I cannot multitask, Kate will tell you. The closest I get to multitasking is playing Candy Crush while having a tom tit. But Kate, and she can back that up as well. Kamo.
I don't come in the bathroom with you.
There's an image.
Kate, we saw Akpom yesterday, or as Danny prefers to call him, Apcom. And he put in, I would say, a fairly solid performance. Some could say, he won us the penalty. He should have scored a header towards the end. He looked a very promising talent. There was rumours earlier in the window that Liverpool were going to try and tempt him away by offering a contract. I don't know. Has he signed yet? Has he signed a contract, or is he still, Kris?
Do you know what? I don't actually know. I don't think he has. I think we've offered him one. I think it's him and Coquelin. They've both been offered, but I don't think there's anything been announced yet. So it's not been on the .com.
Okay. But basically, Kate, the question is, German newspapers are stating this morning that Dortmund are interested. Do you think we should let him go, or do you think that he has the promise there to actually make an impact in our first team?
No, I think he's got the promise. I don't think Arsene Wenger will let him go unless there is a massive deal on the table, for maybe to swap with someone half decent or something. But no, I don't think he will let him go, and I'd like to see him make it at Arsenal. It'd be nice to see someone who's come through the ranks and built his way up and shown or played to the potential that he can be.
Yes. Right, I think that's about it. All that's left to do, really, is me and Kris are going to be back at 2 o'clock. Kris, quick recap on who we've got on at 2 o'clock, just in case anyone missed it.
Yeah, I've got it in front of me now. 2 o'clock, you've got Mr. Jeff Arsenal. You've got Tim Hargreaves from South Africa. And you've got Danny and yourself. And yeah, I'll be around if you want me. But yeah, that's us 5.
It's an all-star lineup for 2 o'clock then. So stick with us. We will be about. Hopefully something breaks within the next hour. I don't know, how likely that is at this moment in time. Yeah, I've got to go and take Kate to work. But thank you so much, Kate, for joining us. You'll be about, won't you, throughout the day if you need to jump on. Also,
no.
no, the later in the day, you tit.
Well, after 6, yes.
Yes, lovely. And also a big thank you to Stevie from the Arsenal in My Blood podcast. It's not very often that I will promote other podcasts on ours, but his is definitely one that's worth listening to. So thank you very much, Stevie.
No, I appreciate it. No, I'm a man of my word. It was quite funny actually. I remember saying, yeah, I'll come on, and then I booked a flight to Barcelona on Thursday. I went, oh yeah, I forgot the podcast. So I brought my laptop with me and my headset, and luckily the hotel here has got internet. It doesn't work very well, as we saw a little bit earlier. I did drop an S-bomb, but then that's because I thought the internet just dropped out. But it was comical, so that's fine. Yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed, my negotiations with Messi will still go as accordingly, and he will be in my hand luggage by this evening.
And we will put up a donate button on burkampwonderland.com to
chip in.
Yes, exactly.
Brilliant,
exactly.
Brilliant. It shouldn't go over the excess, but if it does, chip in. Brilliant stuff.
Yes. And also, thank you to Kris. Kris, without you, this podcast wouldn't probably be going ahead today. You've done a lot of work to help. So I thank you for that. I trust that you will be joining us at several points throughout the day to spread your knowledge and wisdom. I know when it comes to European football and transfers and whatnot, there's not many people in the podcasting game better than yourself.
That's very kind of you. Oh, the check's in the post, by the way, mate. Appreciate that.
It's all right. I just need to get a bit of tissue to wipe my nose off. Right. So that was a Burkamp Wonderland transfer deadline day special part 1. Join us at 2 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen.
Cheerio.
Bye.
Bye.